2013, a young woman named Melissa got her own place across town. About 3 months into living there, things started to get a little bit weird. It started with a whole bunch of hang-up calls. Then she started getting these huge bouquets of flowers delivered to her front step, and after that, she started noticing things in her kitchen and her living room were going missing. Melissa had this habit. Every time she went to bed, she would unplug her TV. One night, she unplugs her TV and she goes up to bed. The next morning, TV's plugged in again. She convinces herself that, well, she must have forgot to unplug the TV. That night, she unplugs the TV and then she puts it down and looks at the outlet, and then she goes upstairs to bed. The next morning when she walks downstairs, what does she see? The TV is plugged in again. She's horrified, and it was at this point that Melissa developed a real fear of her first floor. Melissa goes to bed one night super early. She sits up in bed and she turns on the TV. She's not touching her remote, and the channels are still cycling. Her downstairs TV was connected to her upstairs TV. If one was changing the channel, the other changed the channel. It dawns on her that someone downstairs is changing the channels. All she can think to do is turn off her TV, and so in total darkness, all she can hear is her own breathing, and she can feel the pounding of her heart in her chest. Grabbed a pillow and put her head into the pillow and just laid like that until she eventually fell asleep. The next morning when she goes downstairs and the TV is unplugged. That for her confirms that paranoia is getting to me. That day she was going to a family party. When she gets there, she pulls her older brother and says, here's the strange things that are happening in my house. So the brother offered to live with her for a few days and just see it for himself. Their younger brother says, oh, I'll stay there too. And they don't see anything. When her brothers are getting ready to leave, she was practically begging them to stay. Brothers reassured her that if she experienced anything weird, just call and they would be there in a heartbeat. But like most nights, couldn't sleep, she hears the unmistakable sound of her back door opening, and she hears footsteps, and then she hears the TV turn on, and her brothers had volume set really, really high. And immediately the TV turned back off. And so she is like, oh my God, what do I do? And she calls her brother, and he picks up right away and she goes, someone is in the house. The brother's like, I will be there in 10 minutes. Melissa sees her brother's car pulls up across the street. She's still on the phone with him and she's saying, do you see him? And he pauses and he says, yep, there is someone in your living room. I'm gonna hang up and call the police and I'm gonna call you right back. She decided to walk over to her door and look through the keyhole with brother calling back, drops on the ground, it's still ringing. She finally silences it, pokes her head back. Standing at the bottom of the stairs looking up at her is a man with a hat pulled over his eyes, and he begins walking up the stairs. She's screaming at the top of her lungs to get her brothers inside, hears them come charging inside, here's this person who's in her house screaming, I'm sorry, and then it's quiet. The older brother takes the hat off of this guy, and it's their mother's ex-boyfriend from 10 years ago. They all believed had an inappropriate attraction to Melissa. Police show up, and he quickly admitted to sneaking into her house for months. Police cited mental illness, is given 3 years in jail, and the family, once again, cut all ties with him.